Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. I, Mehek Dhiman, your host for the day, would like to welcome you all. EdTalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. Our topic for the day is examination fear among students, and to express her viewpoints on the same, we have with us Miss Nidhi Sirohi, ma'am, principal of GD Goenka Public School, Noida. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you so much. I just wanted to correct a little. I'm from GD Goenka Global School, Noida.
My apologies, ma'am. GD Goenka Global School, Noida. And ma'am, how are you doing? We are so glad to have you here on the board.
Thank you so much. I'm doing fine. And thank you so much for having me on board for this very interesting talk show. And I hope I can add some value to the entire purpose.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, let's start off with the examination fear among students. So, there were exams, previously a few days back. So, what do you think, is the leading cause why students are so afraid of examination?
See, if I talk of it at the macro level, examination always have, what should I say, initiated or given that fear in terms of the terminology. I think from times unknown, the word examination is synonymous to fear.
Yeah.
So, the moment we have to say, oh, there is going to be an exam, even if the teacher walks into the class and says there's going to be a test, there is fear. Now, the fear can come from various factors. So, the fear of one, of course, children themselves are not very confident of their preparation. That's one. So, whether how they will fare in the exam is the main reason. And when I say fair, it would be different for different children. So the children who are academically doing better than the other children in the class will have the fear of performance in terms of doing the best. So they would probably have a competition amongst the top few children, and everybody wants to come first. The others may not be confident enough about their preparation. So there would be an underlying fear of whether I will remember what I have learned, whether I will be able to give the right answer, hope the questions are not very difficult. And then there's a third kind of fear where the children have been a little lazy, they haven't prepared and probably have just learned overnight the previous day. So they are in a confused state of mind. So for them also, the fear would be how they will do. So the common factor here is the performance, because society today, though it should not, but the fact of the matter remains, society judges a students on the marks scored. So whether the society, and I'm talking society at large, so it's not only about the parents and the teachers, it's the relatives, and everybody wants to know, Acha, you had an exam, how much did you score? Board exams, when a child is going for a board exam, especially 10th and 12th, so you'll have the entire family and the extended family and the neighbors and the neighbors calling you up, oh, tomorrow the board exam starts, so how are you doing, how are you prepared? And the day the result is announced, everybody wants to just run away, because all phone calls, people are really interested in your performance. So I think it is a society that has given this fear without even understanding what the objective of examination is. And all examinations cannot be measured by the same barometer. It depends on what kind of examination the child is taking. And that is why, as an educator, many a times I always, especially in the school examination, I correct even the parents. I said these are not examinations; they're just assessments. An assessment of two kinds: assessment of learning and for learning. So it's an assessment of the teacher as well, for her to understand that the teaching that happened, the teaching and the learning that happened in the classroom, has it achieved the desired objectives? Or does she need to change her strategies? Or should she need to change her approach for different children? And I think the emphasis in society and in school should be on learning and not on the marks. And that's a paradigm shift that one is looking for. And I think it can only be brought about when the entire society changes its mindset.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Absolutely. And I think it's the fear of, being judged by someone else. Uh,
Okay.
that's what students are most afraid of. I think, let it be students or anybody, examination is a scary word itself. So
And
moving,
if the parents take it as their personal performance, as their personal ego, or the I mean, it's like their child's performance will define the kind of parents they are. So there are a lot of psychological factors also that play into this. And another thing is, I mean, I'm just asking, who who asks for your marks, Meg, when you went for a job? Did anybody wanted to know how much you scored in grade 4 or 5 or 6 or 7? Was anybody interested in how much you scored in those classes? I think it was more about what you had to offer on the table, the personality you were, the communication skills that you had, the knowledge that you had. Now, all that can only be built when, as I said, the entire focus has to shift from getting those marks to learning.
thank you so much, ma'am. Very beautifully explained. Moving forward, ma'am, what are some of the ways to tackle this examination fear as a educator, let it be as a parent or anybody?
So I think first and foremost, as I just said, should be treated. These children in school, that is an impressionable age. So what they perceive, they believe. So they do not know what examination is. Right. It is how they have been made to perceive it. So whether it is at home, so they will hear, oh, you have an exam tomorrow, sit down and study. The teacher there, oh, your exams are coming, your exams are coming. So the child starts wondering, what is this exam? Without himself or herself realizing, it's the fear which in most cases has been induced by society. And that is something that needs to change. We have to make it a normal thing, that when learning happens, assessment will happen. Only then can we move forward, right? So this entire system of examination, rather than making them a big hoa, it should be made, the student should be made to believe that it's a part of their growing up, it's a part of their learning and teaching process. So these are just as different milestones that the child has to study. And also, I think the examination, the systems have to become a little more student friendly, right? Though there has been a lot of change. If I have to talk of the kind of examination that happened when I went to school to what the kind of examination that happened today, earlier examination, I believe, and they were more teacher focused rather than being student focused. So often I tell the teachers that please assess and mark the children what they know, not on what they don't know, because it's something like, I'm the teacher, I know more than you, so I should be actually saying, oh, you've done this wrong and you've done this wrong and you've done this wrong, because I'm the teacher, I know more than you. So more than that, if it is made into a very normal course, a normal part of the entire education system, I think that not only will the children perform better, but this fear will also go, which at times leads to other psychological issues.
Absolutely,
And
ma'am.
I'll add one more thing. A little change that has happened is after the 2 years of lockdown, where the children have been, there was a change from the offline classes or the physical interaction that used to happen to online classes that happened during the lockdown. So this particular generation, in any case, is a technologically savvy generation. They like to do things on the gadgets and devices, and they, in any case, do not like the reading and the writing and all of it. So, and they got their comfort thing. So they were sitting in front of screens and they were typing and all of it. So now when they've gone back to the physical system, where they are reading and writing and giving assignments and maintaining their copies and their project files and everything else, so that also has kind of added to the anxiety level amongst the children this year. So that's an extraordinary kind of a thing. It's not the normal case. It wasn't.
Yeah. Absolutely, ma'am. Speaking of anxiety, moving forward, ma'am, do you think that the students who generally are scared of examinations are affected in some way? For example, there are some students who are repeatedly revising their syllabus, whether they have learned that concept or um, whatever, they are repeatedly revising that particular subject. So do you think the students who are, scared of examination are affected in some ways, in, in a good way, when being compared? Yeah.
The thing is that, yeah, see, some of, as I told you, the scare can come from various reasons, right? As I said, for some, the scare would be whether they will be able to perform and score 100%. For some, it may be whether they will be able to score, their whatever their benchmarking is. And for some, it would be whether they will be able to live up to the expectations of the parents, because you know how the parents are pressurizing, you have to get 10 on 10, you have to get 10 on 10, you have to get 100 on 100, and whether we will be able to do or not, so that fear is there. It has both its negative aspects and negative effects, and as well as positive. So it can, how we are encouraging and motivating our children rather than threatening them. See, the entire process of when the child is preparing for the exam, so whether it is the home environment or the school environment, it should be one of motivation. It should be one of where the child is being encouraged to do his or her best. That is important in life, rather than just setting unrealistic targets for them or demeaning their performance if they do not do well. So if in the past a child has not done up to the expectations of whoever, the child should not be demeaned. Instead, it should be encouraged. They should be made to realize where all they went wrong and how do they change. Because this entire schooling, whether it's the examination system or learning process or the social skills, is actually preparing you for life. They're preparing you how you're going to live your life as an adult. So in life, you cannot always achieve perfection. You cannot always do your give your best, or even after giving your best, you may not get what you want in life. So the children have to, so a lot of social skills, a lot of emotional skills also develop as a part of this examination, because life is full of examinations only if you have to take it from that perspective, right? So they have to learn that it is not that you will get everything you want always. So how to deal with that? So when the examinations are happening, I think it's very important to have the positive environment where the child is encouraged and also taught how to deal with failure. Now, failure does not mean failing with the red line. Failure means not being able to achieve what one set out to achieve, and how to give your best the next time. So it can that fear, that element of fear, can have both positive and negative impact on the children, depending on the environment in which they are.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And lastly, what suggestions would you like to give to the students watching us out? How do they overcome their fear of examination?
I think first and foremost is being very regular in your with your studies. So rather than keeping everything for the last minute, if the children are up to date, not only with their assignment, they come back home, and this I'm talking about the higher classes, and in the lower classes, the children are not very aware. But if they have a little recap session, the teachers do it in school. There's a repetition of what has to be learned. The parents are also helping them learn what they have to in terms of their syllabus or whatever. So if the children are regular with their work, and they don't pile it up for the last minute, they will definitely be more at ease. That fear will not be of that level. They give their assignments on time, and today and they're living in an environment where there is knowledge explosion. So it is very important for them not only to learn what is being taught in school in terms of the textbooks, because the information that we live in today is so much that it's impossible for a person to go through it all the time. So it's important for the children to upgrade themselves on their own also. They have to become self learners, and self learning is the best way of learning, when you have mentors but you know what you want to achieve. So if you have your targets, regular work, doing little things, and then having a very disciplined life, sleeping well, waking up, and maintaining the body clock. So if the nature has made a day and a night, and where there is sun out and bright sunshine, where there's energy, that's the time for the children to be up and about and working. And when there is no sun and it's night, it's time for them to rest and sleep. But somewhere, what is happening these days, the children have just kind of interchange their body clocks. The major complaint from parents is that they sleep at 2 o'clock, late at night, and it's very difficult for them to get up in the morning. So when they're not having had a good sleep and they're feeling tired. So even when they're in school, they're not able to give the 100%. They're not able to absorb what they have to be. They won't have the energy. So a very disciplined life, and another very important thing these days is having the right kind of diet. So the junk food and the excess of calories and all, which also kind of gives anxiety. When your sugar levels are high and you're having a lot of carbs and cold drinks and carbonated drinks and all of it. So it's not that the mind or the body is healthy. So keeping a healthy body, maintaining a routine, having very controlled sleep hours and physical exercise. So it always says now a fit body houses a fit mind.
Yes.
So they have to be physically very active. They have to look after their selves, and therefore then they will never fear exams at all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a very wonderful, session with you, listening to your experiences and viewpoints. Thank you so much for taking out
Thank
your
you.
time for this.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you so much.
And for all the viewers watching us out, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
You too.